Did Megan really kill her family? This seems like an obvious question to answer. Of course she did. We saw it happen at the start of the game. But did we? The key elements that result in so many deaths are A. The ladder that Dennis used to get into the attic is knocked over. B. The bathroom door gets locked. C. Anthony and Tanya get locked outside the house. D. A doll catches fire, falls to the floor, and sets the house on fire. Watching those scenes in the game, it's important to note that we don't see Megan do any of them. The game implies it. Megan is creepy, it's Megan's doll that starts the fire, and she talks to Satan more than is probably healthy, but what did she actually physically do? Let's remember for a moment that this whole prologue is Anthony's dream. Not his memory of what happened, but his dream of what happened. Once you accept that, you have to start asking what is real and what is an exaggeration. Here's a perfectly good example. Look at what Anthony does at the end of the prologue. He charges into an inferno, presumably dying. Later on, though, we learn that he didn't die, and in fact, other than a badly burned ear, he was physically unharmed by the fire. Knowing that, it's reasonable to assume that the fire wasn't actually as severe and apocalyptic as he remembers it, or he couldn't possibly have survived it so relatively unscathed. That piece of information alone forces us to accept that Anthony's dream of the fire isn't a direct representation of what actually happened. Once you accept that, you have to ask what Anthony, the person having the dream, actually witnessed. He started a burner on the stove, then went outside when he heard Tanya yelling. Tanya had become stuck on the balcony. She says Megan locked her out, but Anthony didn't actually see that happen. We just have to take Anthony's dream about Tanya's word on it. The first thing we find out about the house is that it has a front door that sticks. Maybe the balcony's doors do as well. What about Dennis and the ladder? We have no idea if it actually got knocked over since Anthony wasn't there. And Anne getting locked in the bathroom. Again, Anthony didn't see it, so we can't be sure that it actually happened. What if there was a piece of evidence which suggested that Megan didn't lock anyone in or out of the house? Wouldn't that suggest that Anthony's dream was wrong about basically everything? Let's talk, for a moment, about the game's secrets menu. The circles are arranged in a grid, with lines linking them to form relevant narratives. Every time you make a link by finding two related secrets, more information is added to both of those secrets, so you can contextualize the new information you've learned, and figure out the story gradually. So let's talk about Secret 50. It's likely to be the second last secret players will come across in the game. The last secret is 10, which is unlocked by getting the 49 other secrets and finishing the game. Its position on the grid suggests that it's an extremely important clue, and the fact that it's not linked to any other secrets suggests that its importance must be completely self-evident, but it isn't. The broken grandfather clock has nothing to do with the adventure the fictional characters went through in the town. It reveals nothing about the town's history or the witch trials, or indeed any of the characters. So why did the developers put it in and highlight it as if it were vitally important? Let's take a closer look at the key and see if we recognize it. That's right, it's the exact same key Megan was holding in the prologue, a spare key that locks and unlocks all of the doors in the house. But if Megan used it to lock everyone in and out, what is it doing in the clock? Did Megan set the house on fire to kill everyone, and then go put the key away back in its hiding place inside the clock? Why would she do that? No, I suspect that the key is in the clock, and it's listed as Secret 50 because the developers wanted to make it clear that the police were right, and the fire was an accident after all. Here's an alternate possibility for what might have happened on the night of the fire. Tanya and Megan were talking in her room, and the bird strike happened. Notice that despite the fact that it's apparently freezing outside, Megan's door is open. Maybe that wasn't the case. Perhaps Tanya opened the door and went outside to check on the bird, then closed it behind her, causing it to stick once again. Tanya interpreted that as Megan locking her out. But if she didn't have the key, could she have done that? Then Megan goes looking for help. Her mother is napping in the bathtub, and Dennis is in the attic ignoring her, so she goes downstairs to look for Anthony, who's outside talking to Tanya. Megan tries to open the door and yell for him, but it's stuck as well, so she puts her doll down on the counter and tries to shift it with all of her strength. While she's doing this, the doll falls over and catches on fire. Megan panics and goes to her father for help, but he's too drunk and tired and she can't wake him up. As fire spreads into the room, she backs away and witnesses her father being crushed by the falling ceiling. Meanwhile, Anne has been woken up from her nap in the tub by the smoke, but she's quickly overcome and collapses to the floor of the bathroom, unable to breathe. In the attic, Dennis sees a huge amount of smoke and realizes the house is on fire. He could climb down, but the smoke and fire is so bad that doing so would risk his life, so he thinks going out the window is the smarter idea. Megan, unable to open any of the doors and terrified for her life, runs upstairs away from the fire but doesn't make it far and burns to death on the landing. Then Tanya either breaks her neck or burns, and Dennis falls to his death, both of them complete accidents. Anthony, racked with the guilt that his decision to light the stove burned the house down, killing his family, charges into the fire, maybe to try and save someone, maybe to kill himself. Then, after blaming himself for the death of his whole family, the police come in and tell him that no, it was Megan's doll that started the fire. He's both relieved for himself and angry at Megan, and then it all crumples together into a mixture of fury and guilt that cripples him as a person, until he finally develops a fully blown psychosis that turns into hallucinations when he returns to Little Hope. Is this definitely what happened? Naturally, we can't say for sure. The game's fantasy-focused construction makes that impossible to say. But, here's a question. If this isn't what the developers intended, if this isn't what really happened, why is the key in the clock secret number 50? Every other secret in the game reveals something about the town or the characters. Every single one, except for the key inside the clock. Making that key the final secret imbues it with meaning. So if the fire wasn't an accident, and Megan really did set it on purpose to kill her family, what does the key mean? I've been the Hidden Object Guru, thanks for watching this video. If you had a good time and you'd like to see more, I've got a whole playlist packed with Dark Pictures content here on the channel. If you have any questions, theories, or topics you'd like to see covered in future videos, please drop them into the comments section below the video. See you back here for the next thing, but until then, au revoir.